Here we are. Once again.
Got the fills on in the 10th. Trey Turner's been very good since that ovation spike.
Well, you said it was infantilizing, if I remember correctly. So
I said it was a little bit.
Yeah.
But now that it worked, I'm happy it worked.
All right.
I didn't think it was bad necessarily. I think we can go back. CJ, play the tape. Roll the tape back.
Yeah, I got it. Just let me.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Real quick. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something magical in that fucking stadium, man. I got to get back there for a playoff game. I got to do it. I really want to. I don't think I was talking to my dad about this. I've never been to a Phillies playoff game. I went to Dodgers Cubs. Justin Turner walk-off. That was cool. But I got to get to Philadelphia.
You're a Dodgers fan.
I like the Dodgers for Alyssa.
Mm.
But it pales in comparison.
Mm.
When's the last time you were at Wells Fargo Center?
Whew. Long time. Can't remember. I don't have a good memory for that for whatever reason.
It's Dodgers games.
I was only there once for the playoff one. That was a good walk off because my brother-in-law's a big Cubs fan, so he was there, and that was a tough walk back to the parking lot for him.
It's a long walk to the parking lot, if I remember correctly, at Dodger Stadium.
Yeah, pretty long walk.
It's a big parking lot.
I can't remember the last time I was at a Sixers game. I don't love going to. I feel like the experience of going to a baseball game is very high. Experience of going to a basketball game, just okay, unless you're sitting obviously right there.
100%. Because even if the baseball game isn't any good, you're still sitting outside. Then the ambiance of it, it's not in your face. The pace of it, you know.
You don't need to. The experience of not seeing. Oh, what a grab! The experience of not seeing. Double them up. Holy shit, Rojas, my guy, beautiful. The experience of going to a baseball game, you just don't need. I mean, it's obviously enhanced by seeing the strike zone, but you just can see it all. Whereas if you can't really see what's going on in the basketball game, it's just like somebody over there is scoring or missing.
It's even worse for football. Honestly, at a football game, you have.
I wouldn't go to one I cared about.
The times that that fans have been like, ripped for what they're doing when somebody gets hurt during a football game is like if you're a fucking football game, you don't know anything that's happening.
Yeah.
Honestly, zero. So, all right. Here we go. The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Sign up for DraftKings Sportsbook by using promo code RTRS. Brought to you by Briggs Auction, the official auction of the process at briggsauction.com. LL Pavorsky Jewelers, where Rights to Ricky Sanchez listeners go and get engaged. Kornblau and Kornblau, the official law firm of the process. And Stateside Urban Craft Vodka, the official sponsor of the Corner 3 newsletter with Zoe, statesidevodka.com. You might know that Mike and I rotate writing for the Stateside newsletter, the Corner 3 newsletter with Zoe, and it comes out tomorrow, and it is Mike's week.
Yes, sir.
Just reminding him on the pod.
Already got it drawn up in the email.
All right, good. On today's show, James Harden is fined $100,000 for what he said about Daryl Morey. The Players Association is going to appeal that fine. Josh Harris simply has the handshake of the millennium.
Oh, my God.
Which will take up the middle 45 minutes of the pod. We have the results of the State of the Sixers survey. A little hint, State's not good right now. And the return of relationship advice, or as I like to call it, she's not that into you. Advice is what most of relationship advice is. I did mention Stateside Urban Craft Vodka. Man, you were just mentioning CBP. At Citizens Bank Park, it looks like every third person has a Surfside. A lot of Surfsides at Citizens Bank Park. Great baseball watch and drink. What is Surfside, you ask? Well, Stateside Vodka makes it with Stateside Vodka and iced tea and only 3 grams of sugar. It's only 100 calories. It tastes fucking awesome. Everybody loves Surfside. Up in my area now, it's taken over. North Jersey, New York area, everywhere. I see billboards and shit. And they don't just have the iced tea and vodka. It's the iced tea lemonade and vodka, the peach tea and vodka, the lemonade and vodka. Yes. Go to statesidevodka.com. You can order it all there, but you've got to be 21. Without any further ado, Amos and the chef.
We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We was right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We were right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. Say the name.
Welcome to the Rights To Ricky Sanchez podcast. I'm Spike Eskin, along with a guy who was fined $100,000 for things he says on the regular. That is one Mike Levin.
That would make this podcast way less profitable. 10 years in, though. No fines, no cease and desists, at least for me.
Yeah.
Pretty
Not
good.
that we know of. Yep.
Pretty good.
Yep. So that fine did happen. This from NBA Communications, the official press release, August 22nd, 2023. The NBA announced today that Philadelphia 76ers guard James Harden has been fined $100,000 by the NBA for public comments on August 14th and 17th, indicating he would not perform the services called for under his player contract unless traded to another team. The league's investigation, which included an interview of Harden, confirmed that these comments reference Harden's belief that the 76ers would not accommodate his request to be traded.
Yeah.
Then the National Basketball Players Association released a statement. We respectfully disagree with the league's decision to discipline James Harden for recent comments he made, which we believe do not violate the rule against public trade demands. We intend to file a grievance and have the matter heard by our arbitrator.
That's definitely the NBPA one is definitely like, we pretty much agree.
Yep.
But we gotta
We
do
have a
this,
job
which
to
I respect
do.
as a union. You should be doing that.
Yeah. It is sort of like, before these fines happen, if I don't know the actual machinations of how the league works with the Players Association, but most times with a collective bargaining situation like this, the league would call the Players Association and tell them the fine that's going to happen. And I can just imagine the call from Adam Silver is like, yeah, did you see the Harden, the China thing? Like, yeah, we talked to Harden. The good news, he said it wasn't about the contract. Bad news, he did say it was about being traded to one specific team in a timely manner. Yeah. So look, we're going to fine him. And the Players Association is like, we're going to file an appeal. We got to do we have to file an appeal? We have to file an appeal. And then that's it. So
yeah.
Any thoughts?
I mean, just them being like, does the fact that he was in a different country make it okay? We can check.
Yep.
I don't think so. Yeah, I mean, just there's ways to make trade demands without, acting like this, but he wanted to,
he
throw a
repeated
fit, and it was a $100,000 fit. I hope it was worth it. He has left a lot of money on the table over the last few years, so why not add $100K to the pile?
Little baby somewhere is like, motherfucker, that was going to be a gym bag full of cash for me.
Yeah.
And now, so they, And by the way, he did it immediately after. It was sort of like, I'm sure I've used this metaphor before. There's like two people arguing, and one guy's like, you say that one more time, I'm going to punch you in the fucking face. Then the guy has to say it, and then the other guy has to punch him in the face.
Yeah.
So Adam Silver put out
there's a really good fight in the Real Housewives of Potomac where essentially that does happen in a really beautiful way, iconic moment. Yeah. So the Potomac fans will know what I'm talking about, but you described it very well just now.
Yeah. So it happened to me one time with a coworker, actually. I got in a
Wow.
lot
At
of
work?
trouble. Yeah. Do you want me to tell a story?
Sure.
Okay. So it was early in my career and I was working for WYSP rock station. I was the late night DJ. I was fat at the time, so I was more confident because I was bigger in terms of fighting. Cousin Ed, who was our afternoon drive host, I wish I remember what he said to me about a band that I liked. And he said it, and I go, "What?" And he said it again, and I got in his face. And I said, "If you say that again, I'm gonna kick your fucking ass," or something like that.
Wow.
He looked at me right in the face.
A band that you liked.
Yes, I forget what the argument was. It was a long time ago. I mean, it was over 20 years ago. And he said it again. I grabbed him and I pushed him up against the lockers.
Wow.
But I had not punched anyone at that point. And I told him to shut the fuck up. Then later, Tim Sabian, who was later the program director of the Howard Stern channel, Tim was our boss at the time, called me into his office and he goes, "The only reason I'm not firing you right now is because it was too much of a pain in the ass for me to go through the paperwork." He goes, "You better go upstairs to Ed and apologize to him and hope he accepts it." Did not apologize.
Didn't apologize.
Not apologize.
Wow.
Too much pride. Too much pride.
Wow. Too much pride in whatever band you can't remember what it was.
Yes. So Adam Silver puts out the memo after the Dame Lillard stuff, and James Harden is just like, "No one's going to tell me not to request a trade to one specific team and make a public issue about it."
Mm-hmm.
They had to find him. So it essentially doesn't change anything except that James Harden has $100,000 less dollars. I mean, I think he only wants to go to the Clippers.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty clear. I think there was a concern of like, oh, here comes the reinvestigation.
Yep.
And it's going to be bad.
The salary stuff, as you were worried about.
Yeah, the idea of like there was some handshake under the table agreement, blah, 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 which I never thought that there would be. And I'm at least glad that Harden has pretty much put that to bed, the idea that he took less money in a handshake thing where, you know, he was getting paid in Michael Rubin's t-shirts or something. Like for a guy to sell t-shirts and to be so prominently shirtless, it's such an odd thing to do. But yeah, so at least that's not out of the way. I can keep my precious second round picks that the Sixers haven't already traded. And it's just like, I just don't understand why he's a liar. I don't understand why this makes Daryl a liar. Buddy, like you were threatening, it's worth repeating this.
Yeah.
You were threatening going to Houston all season long from Christmas. They hire Ime Udoka. They don't want you anymore. There's nowhere to go. You opt in and immediately ask for a trade without like having a trade in mind aside from just there. The Clippers,
which was stunning to everyone, by the way, because I remember texting with Sixers Adam on the day of the opt-in.
Yeah.
And I remember Adam saying, "Well, I can't imagine him opting in without them already having a trade worked out."
and it feels like it was just like, I've already given up too much money. If you're going to tell me I have to take like a mid-level exception for 1 year when I'm going to be 34, odds are that is going to be then the ceiling of what I get for the rest of my career.
Right.
So he opts in because he's like, I've already left too much money on the table in like sort of a thrashing upset decision. He opts in. He's like, trade me then. Go there. Right there. Them. Points at a map.
But James, do they even want you?
They do want him. For sure they
Yeah.
want him. But like they're just not willing to trade anything that the Sixers would find valuable enough to make this trade. And if I'm Daryl, I'm not saying like I will hold Harden all season long. And, at the deadline, I would trade him for literally anything at this point. But I'm not saying Daryl should come out and say that. But once you get to the deadline, he's going to walk no matter what. So you may as well trade him to somewhere. Who knows if he plays, what the fight's going to be, all that stuff. I'm trying to game it out into the future. But like at this point, there's no reason to trade him for nothing. At the deadline, there would be. Maybe if you get too close to training camp or the start of the season and there's actual like more rift and these hysterics have gotten more ridiculous. and it's threatening to upend the entire team. And obviously, Nick Nurse hasn't coached a game yet for this team. Poor guy.
Poor Nick.
But yeah, I mean, it's just like it just never made sense to trade him to the Clippers for just whatever, and he just goes on, state media in China and says, "Trade me, I'll never fucking play for him again. That guy's a liar, loser."
Yeah.
And it's just so funny that he would say that, and he's like, "What's the lie?" Like, I just don't know what the lie is. He's just upset. And it's like just because you're not getting what you want doesn't mean you're being lied to.
Well, by the way, this is a you can't be lied to if you never talk, and this is a communication problem.
Yeah.
Because the fact that the two camps are really not talking at all, and there's the story that Daryl has closed off. I mean, it was obviously a reaction to Daryl closing off trade negotiations with the Clippers or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but if
which is itself like a move, but not real.
yes, yeah, of course he'll trade.
There was never really that negotiations anyway. It was like, I don't know, who you want to give us? Nobody? Okay, great.
I thought this was an interesting idea. We got this voicemail. 833 Lickface is the number.
Hey guys, it's John from San Diego. Wouldn't it be great if Ballmer just went on the record and said he's not interested in Harden? I mean, why would he be interested in Harden at this point? That's my basketball question. My non-basketball question is, did Bryce Harper sign with the Phillies because he loved the Philly fanatic?
If Ballmer publicly said he didn't want James Harden, the podcast that we would do that night would be a very funny podcast. It would be depressing.
I think he does. Though. I think he definitely does want him. Absolutely, I think he wants him.
Sure.
I don't think that they're willing to trade everything they have, and even if they would willing to trade everything shy of Paul George and Kawhi, like, does Daryl feel like that is enough to refuse the idea of other people offering something better?
It does feel like almost certain that he's going to be here till the deadline.
The deadline. I don't know.
Yeah, you don't think so? You don't know.
I just don't know. I would love if I could sort of like leak my own thing to reporters right now on the podcast is I would love for there to be a leak that you report saying Harden would also go to these other teams.
Yes.
Harden would love to go to Chicago or Toronto or Dallas in a 3-team or anywhere.
Phoenix.
He loves the South generally. And just like name a region that opens it up more than just like this one particular team that doesn't have enough stuff to make it worth our time.
If nothing else, it makes if there is a deal that they would accept for the Clippers, it makes it more likely that they would make that deal happen because there would be other teams interested in him,
Yeah. But again, the Harden if it was just I want to play for the Clippers this year, that's one thing. But he not only wants to play for the Clippers this year, he wants to then sign a contract with the Clippers when they have his bird rights. And if he isn't traded to a team that have his bird rights, then he has to sign a free agent contract with them or something like a sign and trade or something. That would then make it hard for him to get the kind of money that he deserves. And then you have to start looking at like who actually has cap space next season, yada, yada. And then you go back to the Sixers. The Sixers have cap space next season. And I don't know that is where he wants to play.
Right.
I've heard.
The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is presented by Briggs Auction. Briggs Auction. Go to briggsauction.com or download the app in the App Store or Google Play Store. I have great news to report that I have won a Briggs Auction. It has been months and months since I won anything. Stephen Turner from Briggs was like, it's my guy over there. He was like, do you want me to send you the stuff or do you want to wait till you come pick it up? And I was like, I got to earn it. I got to come pick it up. So I got to go to Delco to get it. But very, very excited. Briggs Auction, 4-generation, family-owned and operated auction house. The way that I like to describe Briggs, to me, it is fun. I love online auctions. And the best thing about Briggs is that they have so many different things. Every week, it seems like, for the last 6-8 months, it's been almost every week. There's a new auction up there, whether it's a discovery auction, which always has a ton of different stuff from collectibles to art to books to furniture to clothes to vehicles sometimes, estate auctions, the wine and spirits auctions, he has promised a vintage t-shirt auction, but I don't know if that's going to happen. A big vintage t-shirt guy. I love once or twice a week, checking to see what's in the auction, skipping around on the different categories. Love the art category, love the collectibles category, and bidding away. Again, briggsauction.com, or download the app from the App Store or Google Play. And if you're downsizing, right? Maybe you inherited a bunch of stuff. It's worth money. You want to know the best place to go to? Send an email to info@briggsauction.com. They will take care of you. Briggs Auction, BRIGGS, the official auction of the process. We got a trade from, wait, where is it? A really good trade, I thought. 4-team trade from Chisholm in OKC. Dedicated listener, Oklahoma City Thunder fan. It is a 1, 2, 3, 4-team trade. Can I propose it to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you put it on the screen?
I think I
the
can.
YouTube. CJ's here.
Yeah, how do we do that? CJ, I'm going to
CJ's
forward
doing
you
his hair right
What if
now.
I
He's
forward
got
you
nothing
the
to do.
email? I can forward you the email? All right, hang on.
CJ gave thumbs up.
Yeah, I'm going to forward him the email.
I like
That way
seeing
you
it. I
can
need
look
to
at
see
it.
it.
Yeah, no. I hear you. Send it to CJ. There we go. While we wait.
Hey, Spike, Mike, CJ, and Daryl. Wanted to talk about the James Harden situation, of course. And I don't think that you guys have fully considered probably the most plausible solution here. And that if you boil it down to each of their incentives, James Harden really only cares about getting paid more money. He left $200 million on the table. With Brooklyn in an extension he didn't sign, he perceives that he left $13, $14 million on the table last year with the Sixers, although I agree with Spike that probably with the 1+1, he ended up making more than market ultimately over these 2 years, but that's not how he perceives it. He just wants the bag. And Daryl Morey needs to keep a viable championship contender around Embiid for the window that we have left. And that's all he cares about. So he's not trading James Harden for a bag of chips no matter what. So what does Harden have to do? I think he's going to show up for training camp. I don't care all the noise he's making in August, and he's going to play. And what we need, and I know Daryl knows that he can't count on Harden in the playoffs. So he's going to trade him, assuming Harden grows his value. And I think he will, because that's the only way that he's possibly going to get paid next year, is getting traded to a team that has his bird rights, unlimited funds, and the ability to sign and extend him. Hence why the Clips are there, because he knows he has absolutely no market in free agency. It proved this year, and next year certainly none of the teams with any cap money to spend are going to pay for him. So he has to play. He has no choice if he wants to get paid, which is all he wants to do. So end of story. He's going to play. He's going to get traded by the trade deadline for some actual assets, probably from the Clips, who are going to need him at that point. And that's how the story is going to end. Thanks, guys.
I guess my question from that is, what do you think, if he is here, the odds are that he just puts his head down in place?
Yeah, I don't. Yes.
You think he will?
No, I mean, I agree with you. I think that the idea that we haven't acknowledged, the caller started off the call with you guys haven't talked about this enough. Oh, we haven't talked about Daryl Morey's dream scenario happening, that everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. And everyone's going to kiss each other on the cheek and play the best basketball of their lives.
Or
and then he'll
kiss
trade
each other
them
on the mouth if they're dating.
Yeah, that'd be great. Which would be great if they're dating.
Yeah.
But no, I just think the idea that it's going to look, it is a very me thing to think that maybe this just goes really well.
Yeah.
But I don't, in this scenario, I will not be fooled.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to go very well. I don't think Harden's just going to come in and be a good sport and play his gosh darn hard off and think the best way for me to
get paid,
to get paid is to play well and play hard and be a good teammate. And I just don't think that he thinks that. I think he thinks that I am one of the best players of all time. I'm still an MVP level player. I've sacrificed for too long. I'm tired of sacrificing. I'm tired of deferring to other people, even Joel, who I like, but don't think he's worth me,
as good as me.
Yeah, being a secondary player. I'm tired of it. So I need to go prove that I'm still a number one option. And so whether that is Harden intentionally or unintentionally sabotaging shit, Harden is not, at every turn, Harden has not gone all right, I'm going to do the right thing and hope that they trade me where I want. He has said, I'm going to force their hand and make this as uncomfortable as possible. So the idea that just like, not only is he going to come and play, he's going to play and raise his trade value, I think is a Daryl Morey level of delusion that I'm not prepared to accept. In other years, I might be, but right now I'm straight up not.
Here is the trade. The Sixers. It is a 4-team trade. The Heat, the Sixers, the Clippers, and the Blazers. The Sixers get Jeremy Grant, Tyler Hero, Norm Powell. The Heat get Damian Lillard. The Clippers get James Harden. And the Trailblazers get Tobias Harris, Duncan Robinson, Markieff Morris, Harris and Markieff both expiring, 3 Miami Heat first-round picks, a 2029 top 12 protected Clippers first-round pick.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a shot in hell that Daryl wants Jeremy's 5 for 135 contract.
It's a good point. They would be good this year.
They'd be okay. Yeah, I mean, the idea they're not going to do anything to like tie up their books for next season. So Jeremy is the most.
Next offseason is going to be so bad.
For sure.
Oh my God.
Norm Powell, 3 for 54. I'm just going off the numbers that he has on this document here. I think that is not something he's interested in. And Tyler Hero, 4 for 108. Maybe that ends up looking like a deal somewhere else, but I don't think Daryl wants to pay for any of those guys. Although I wouldn't disagree in a vacuum, trading Harden and Tobias for those 3 guys would be okay. But I don't think that's in the cards for Daryl.
So during the football game on Monday night, this was Monday, right? This is Monday Night Football. Joe Buck and Troy Aikman were talking to new Washington Commanders owner Josh Harris. Now, in case you didn't know, Josh Harris is also one of the owners of the Philadelphia 76ers.
What?
And that team's valuation is over $2 billion.
Yeah, baby.
Great news for all of us.
Let's fucking go. Valuation time.
I'm sorry for those who are just listening to this, but I want you to imagine, as I'm sure you've seen what we're going to describe. And I've watched this video of Josh Harris grabbing the tippy tops of Joe Buck's hand 150 times.
I can't watch it again. I'm going to look down.
CJ, put it on the screen.
Preseason, but we'd still like to win.
Yeah, I mean, you're no stranger.
Injuries,
You're no stranger to professional sports teams. Managing general partner of the Devils.
The look on Aikman's face is he is loving it.
Yeah. Yeah, he's having a good time.
Look at
It's perfect because it's preseason also. So he's like, this doesn't really fucking matter.
Okay. So there are
this is truly, I gotta tell you, like the thing that makes me the most uncomfortable in the world.
Is it awkward handshake?
A full body cringe at watching someone else. My cringe is cringing. Every part of me is having like 2nd-degree burns from the cringing that I'm doing. It is so unpleasant to watch. I have never really liked this kind of cringe comedy. Yeah. And I know the internet is good about it. It just makes me so uncomfortable. And I have empathy for everyone involved in the situation. Poor Joe Buck's just trying to make a point, talk with his hands, and all of a sudden he gets clasped. He gets groped on the fingers, on the knuckles.
Aikman, by the way, it looks like what Aikman's doing is trying to make eye contact with Joe Buck to make him laugh because he's laughing. And okay, so the next day,
real bad.
Anytime something big happens on the internet, a bunch of CJ, I did not say to stop playing the video. Thank you. Anytime something happens on the internet, there is a wave like pushing back. So there was a bunch of, hey, something like that has happened to me. I could see, what happened to Josh Harris there. Here is my retort to that. Could he have mistaken Joe Buck for putting his hand out to shake it and maybe end the interview or something?
Yeah.
I suppose.
Sure.
But he did not shake his hand. He grabbed his fingers.
Well, he pulled away. He like sort of like a receiver coming across the middle that doesn't really want to lay out for the ball. He short armed it. He for whatted the handshake.
He's Josh Harris is the Ricky Waters
He's
of
Ricky
handshake.
Waters of handshakes, absolutely.
Oh man. It
Real
is
rough.
just a great moment. I wonder if Josh Harris has any, if he could be self-effacing, if he thought this was funny when he looked at it, or if he didn't even understand what the problem.
I don't know that many billionaires have a good sense of humor. I don't know that that's the strength there. I don't know that they're ready to all right, time to make me the butt of the joke. I think he's hiring a PR firm that specializes in these types of things right now to actually try to go is there a way we can make this look cool? Is there a way we can everybody's doing the handshake now? Can it become like a dance move?
So every time something bad happens with the Sixers, I think of the communications team and PR team who has always been good to us. I'm not going to name names, but I think of them. And I think of what their reaction must be. Like when the Harden thing happened, I had my thought about it. And then a half an hour later, I was like, I hope so-and-so is, doing okay. This one, what I imagine those people doing is seeing it and putting their phone on Do Not Disturb and acting like they were asleep.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't have any service.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I hit the sack early last night, man. So sorry. So sorry. The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is brought to you by LL Pavorsky Jewelers. We got this email. Hey, Spike, Mike, CJ, just giving LL his flowers. I had a ridiculous ordeal with my ring, and Lee was there for me and came through every step of the way. Last October, my longtime girlfriend and I quit our jobs, put everything in storage, and took off to fulfill her lifelong goal of traveling the world for a year. I had gotten the ring prior to departing, explained the plan to LL to make sure that I obtained insurance that would cover me anywhere in the world. 3 months into the journey, we were in Patagonia, and I still hadn't found the right moment. Then one morning, between hostels in a, quote, safe small town in Chile, our rental car was broken into and everything was stolen. We literally had our phones and a single credit card between us. Passports, laptop, camera, all our underwear gone. She found out about the ring as we were filling out the police report. Devastated, of course, we kept traveling despite all of this, dealing with emergency passports, replacing them with real ones, all the while abroad, as well as filing my insurance claim for the ring. LL was there for me every step of the way, handling his end with efficiency and kindness. A month or so later, I found out on the same day that our travel insurance had completely denied our entire claim. But more importantly, my ring insurance had been approved. LL went swiftly to work with the insurance company in creating an exact replacement, even getting me a slight upgrade in the color of the stone. Unreal. LL then worked with Chile to find the robbers and put them in jail for tens and tens of years. Now, LL then worked with me to get the replacement ring into the hands of a trusted friend in Denver who was to meet up with us in Egypt. After a successful handoff, another month of
globe-trotting film.
Yeah. Another month of misdirection, I got to propose to my now fiance on top of a mountain in the Albanian Alps. Obviously, none of this would be possible without having LL in my corner. That's our guy. LL Pavorsky Jewelers, the first sponsor of the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast. He will sell you an engagement ring like he has over 300 Rights to Ricky Sanchez listeners, but you got to make an appointment to do it. And he does that so he can give you the best service possible. Give him a call, 215-627-2252. Email lee@llpavorsky.com or tweet at him at @llpavorsky, a supporter of our charities, Providence Animal Center and Mama T's Community Fridge. LL Pavorsky Jewelers.
A legal detective in Chile.
We did the State of the Sixers survey. Sixers Adam then wrote about it on rightstoRickySanchez.com. You can read his analysis. Wanted to give the results. Most of the results I thought were pretty predictable, but here we go. The first question, assuming he rescinds his trade request, would you want James Harden to return to the Sixers? 15% said yes. 85% said no. Predictable? Yeah, I assume.
Yeah,
too. If the Sixers trade James Harden, do you believe the Sixers can get what you consider, quote, a good return? 78% say no. 21% say yes. Do you believe that lack of faith is due to, I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough to know if it's a lack of faith in Daryl or in just a read of the market.
Yes.
Or of James Harden generally, his skill set these days.
Do you believe Joel Embiid can be the best player on a championship team?
I was happy with these results.
Yeah, they were higher than I thought they would be.
Yeah.
In the direction it went. 77% say yes.
Definitely, if that question had been asked 3 months ago, would have been a different answer.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, by the way, we have a very concentrated audience. I think if this were a more general Sixer fan audience, that number would go down.
Yeah.
Are you confident in Daryl Morey? Now this, here is something that I think is interesting. This compared to the previous answer. So 77% of people think Joel Embiid can be the best player on a championship team. Are you confident in Daryl Morey's ability to turn the Sixers into a championship team? 56% say no. So they believe they have a player who can be the best player on a championship team, but do not believe that Daryl Morey can accomplish that goal.
Well, it's, could Joel be the best player on a championship team? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Could Joel be the best player on a Sixers championship team? Somewhat hard to fathom that actually working out. And so that's how you get to Daryl.
Yeah.
Like, could Daryl build a championship team? Yes. Could Joel be the best player on a championship team? Yes. But it's when you have to push those things together, playing for the Philadelphia 76ers, that it starts to become problematic and a little bit hard to see.
This question Adam put in there, I mean, honestly, who gives a fuck? Which Sixers player who left in free agency will the team miss most? Shake Milton, George Niang, or Jalen McDaniels?
I think the easy answer is Niang here because he was in the playoff rotation.
Yeah, 68%, and he can shoot. Yeah,
but he got a pretty big contract, so not one that I thought that the Sixers should have matched.
I agree.
McDaniels to me is the one where you go, why you trade for him. The Sixers would say that they got an extra second round pick for trading for him, but that's so far off into the future. And right now their depth is lacking, and he wasn't in the rotation at all.
Finish this sentence. Going from Doc Rivers to Nick Nurse is 49% essentially say a major upgrade. 45% say a minor upgrade. 6% say it will not make a difference. And of the 2,500 votes, 5 total people said it was a minor downgrade or a major downgrade.
Wow.
So a lot of Nick Nurse support. Now, this next one is truly a reflection on the Sixers offseason. Which new Sixers player are you most excited about? Leading the voting, a player who will likely barely play for the Sixers, Traquavion Smith.
Yeah, baby.
At 34%, followed by Mo Bamba, and then Patrick Beverley, and then Ricky Council.
Yeah, Turk Smith is. I'm all the way there on Turk Smith. I'm ready.
On a scale from 1 to 10, how much confidence do you have in the Sixers in getting out of the second round in 2024? Average answer 2.7. Not a lot of confidence.
2.7%?
No,
2.7 out of 10.
2.7 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
Finish this sentence. The Sixers should trade Tyrese Maxey. The 3 options are only if they can acquire a superstar, if they can acquire an all-star, and under 0 circumstances. The leader was under 0 circumstances, 46.6. Then only if they can acquire a superstar at 46.5.
Yeah, I mean, there's just what I wanted the Sixers to do this offseason is trade Harden and even if he walked, say Harden walked, try to find free agents who you can put between Maxey and Embiid who are athletic, who try hard, and let Nick Nurse try to make them a frenzied defense out in transition. And then in the half court, you have one of the best, the MVP, obviously, and one of the best offensive players in basketball still, even though he's not Jokic. and one of the best young offensive players in the league who is on a path to growing to become a Jamal Murray type. And then just have a bunch of athletes around him and figure it out. And because Harden opted in, or maybe even either way, they just didn't do that. They just haven't done anything. They signed Mo Bamba for nothing. They signed Pat Beverly for nothing. Guys walked. Other people signed other places. They agreed to like bring back 4 centers that aren't athletic. Obviously, B-Ball Paul, that's good. But they just didn't do any of that. And so now there's not a hope that between Maxey and Embiid, you have enough athleticism and length and getting out in transition that you can get some easy buckets and then lay it on the other 2 guys in the half court. So I just don't like it. Even with the Harden trade demand, that becomes bad. I could at least have seen a scenario, and I think I've said this on the podcast, but like, okay, Harden and Embiid's timelines match up. Maxey is the only trade piece we have. Let's trade Maxey before he signs this big contract at the height of his value and go all in on Harden and Embiid. And again, a ton of athletes, maybe like a, not, I don't know who it would be off the top of my head, but like a Paul George type or something to put in between Harden and Embiid and figure something out and be like, our window is like 1.5 years and we're going to go all in these 2 years. And then afterwards we're fucked and whatever. See you later. I could have seen that being a possibility, but they kind of just did neither. And I guess what they would say is we're punting, or not saying we're punting, but we're punting until next offseason when we're going to sign somebody or trade for use the cap space to acquire somebody. So I don't love the offseason so far.
No, I think that's
and now
fair.
now their hands are tied due to the Harden trade request and the liar and the still waiting on Dame to make the trade before something, gets loose. So it's just, we're kind of just hanging around and hoping Daryl voted Nick Nurse will make a huge difference in the state of the Sixers Ricky poll.
Do you think Joel Embiid will be the starting center for the Sixers when they open the 25-26 season? 72% say yes. I believe he will be as well. That is mine. Do you want the Sixers to open a new arena in Center City? 16% say yes. 39% say no. 44% say don't care. I, of course, voted yes because I've always thought it was a good idea. In fact, if you put it right where the fashion district goes, that's exactly where I was imagining it.
The architects will disagree with you, Spike.
Yeah, well, I'm talking from a pure fan and Philadelphian perspective.
You're a fan of the place.
Yeah, and the local
place.
economy. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
How much are you looking forward to the 23-24 season? 9% crazy morons say a lot.
Wow.
23% say some, 32% say a little, and 35% say not at all. I ask you this, Mike, going into last season that just ended.
Yeah.
What do you think if we had asked at the same time, how much are you looking forward to the season? This year is 9%. What do you think it would have been last year?
In the 30s.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yep.
I think they would have been excited about
full season of Harden.
Full season of Harden. They acquired Melton. That was a well looked at type of trade. Trying to remember who else was on the team. Who cares? I think at least the previous one of like, oh, Embiid wasn't healthy. They were 2-2 in the Heat series when Embiid played. So I think that you could have convinced yourself that it would have been something, but yeah, not surprising that it's significantly lower.
Was this all worth it? 63% say yes.
I appreciate those people.
As do I. Which Ricky segment should be done as a regular fixture of the pod? Relationship advice wins with 35.9%. Jigsaw, 33%. Neither, 31%.
I think it should be Mike on muscle relaxers. Regular segment.
That'd be great. And finally, the most important question of the entire poll, which we'll need to dive into a little bit. Now, Now, I made a mistake on the question, but I think everyone got the idea anyway. If placed on an island with only a hammer and their clothes, which member of Team Ricky would be the most likely to survive for 90 months off the
90
land
months.
and sea? Now, I meant 90 days. The winner and champion with 29.2% of the vote
Yeah.
won CJ, the producer.
CJ, pop on. Come on. Take a lap.
That's right. That's right. It's me.
The guy hikes 3 times, and all of a sudden he's surviving on an island with a hammer.
For 90 months.
For 90
Yeah.
A mere 8 years.
Because of my hiking, I am now officially a hunter and fisher.
That's right.
and
As long as you can walk
survivalist.
around up small hills,
That's
then
right.
then you can survive and thrive even.
Mhm.
Let's keep going down the list, Mike. Who's
Yes.
2?
Number 2 is Zoe with 15.4% of the vote.
And I think that's just because Zoe is the most likable out of all of us.
Yes.
I don't think that that's because Zoe has any inherent survival techniques on an island.
He might
He
be able
do-
to like kill a bear or something. He's always tweeting about the gym and stuff. So
Yeah, I was going to say he seems the most physically strong out of all of us. The next one is me at 12.7%.
Now, why is that?
I have no idea. I wonder if these people know that I'm falling apart physically. Now I do exercise a lot. I'm getting a new hip this year. I can't. I'm vegan. I'm not going to kill anything. It would be really tough for me. But I was next. Then after that, Mike O'Connor.
Who no one's ever seen
Well, at least-
visibly really do anything.
Yeah. And has not been on the pod. Like nobody has seen him for like 2 years. So 10% with Mike O'Connor.
Okay.
Then a stunner that I think Sixers Adam comes in next with 9.6% of the vote.
Absolutely insane. These people who voted for Sixers Adam, I'm showing up to your house and asking some serious questions, and the authorities are going to be with me.
Next, Abby.
I have nothing a problem with this. Abby threatened my life on Twitter last night, but I don't have a problem with this. This is fine. Abby's great. Perfect. 8%. Fine.
Next is AU, who, no offense, AU, I think would be dead in 30 seconds.
Absolutely ridiculous, AU.
And who's in last?
Absolutely ridiculous. They don't even have any music there. What's AU going to do?
And finally, well, maybe since he's so bad using the internet and technology, maybe this is his happy place. And in last place, with 6.2% of the vote, one Mike Levin.
I fucking hate you guys. I've always hated the listeners. I've always hated everyone who engages with Sixers Adam on Twitter. Everybody. Ridiculous. I shouldn't be first, and I acknowledge that. But I absolutely shouldn't be last.
I agree with you.
Absolutely shouldn't be last.
I agree.
I will say, in partial defense to AU, the guy that just won the last season of Alone, he won by pretty much hibernating. He didn't eat anything for weeks. He just trained his stomach.
And you just know inherently that would be AU's strategy.
Yeah, if he's not, if he doesn't have technology or whatever, he can't listen to music, then he's got to just, lie in whatever bed he makes and just drink a lot of water and then tough it out.
I'm going to go, if the Sixers try to go into the season with James Harden on the team, I'm going to a deserted island and I'm going to live there for 90 months and I'm going to survive with a hammer. And I'm going to bash myself in the head and then I'm going to hibernate as the blood just slowly drains. Ridiculous.
We did ask an open-ended question. What is the one thing you want to see happen in the 23-24 Sixers season? A lot of creative replies. The Sixers to be relocated. I would like to see the growth of artificial intelligence to the point of sentience. I believe it is an inevitable, frightful, yet relieving outcome, one in which humanity will be doomed, but I will no longer be able to watch the Sixers.
I got to start posting more like Ben Simmons, like thirst traps on Instagram to show that I'm in good shape. Absolutely ridiculous. Fucking CJ up there with his 5-inch inseam shorts.
Oh, now it's getting personal.
Look, I got no problem with the shorts, but that's how he's tantalizing people with all of it.
All my shorts are 5 inseam.
I'm picketing it 3 days a week. I'm out in the sun. I know I put appropriate levels of sunscreen on. While I'm walking in a circle, I'm holding a sign. Sometimes it's windy. The sign gets heavy, but I don't hit anybody with it. I'm going to hit the listeners with a sign. That's what I'm going to do. Ridiculous.
Daryl Morey forced to eat his own penis at half court during Fan Appreciation Day. Increase in the valuation of the franchise. And finally, Mo Bamba details his thoughts around the JJ interview a while back. Oh, we got to get Mo Bamba on. And
that'd be great. Oh, my God. We do have to. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Okay,
I don't want to say anything more about it because I don't want them to stop it from happening.
My dad texted me that him and my mom voted for me of who would survive. And actually, that's wrong because they should know that I couldn't. That's the only. I'd rather not have their votes because them and Alyssa should not vote for me because they know. But the listeners don't know. And to be picked under all of those people, it's for really. This is my revenge season. I'm gonna get a revenge hiking body. I'm gonna fucking be out in the wilderness like crazy.
Go out with CJ's friends, hike with his friends.
Yeah. Where are me and CJ's friends going? I'm replacing CJ. I'm single white CJing his friend group. I'm coming in.
The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is brought to you by Kornblau and Kornblau, the official law firm of the process. Now, I don't think I can give this information yet, but I found out this week via text message that Kornblau was representing another Ricky sponsor in a personal injury case.
Wow.
That wrapped up this week.
And I hope it's because they personally injured someone else.
Yes, it was. No, it was not.
Someone.
Yeah, Kasabi just kicked the living shit out of somebody. No. Kornblau and Kornblau, the official law firm of the process for decades, 40 years. Kornblau and Kornblau has been practicing personal injury law and doing it better than anyone else. The premier boutique personal injury law firm in the Delaware Valley. When you are dealing with something like this, if you've been hurt in any way, in a car accident, injured at work, slip and fall, blah, 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 if you've been injured, somebody else is at fault. If you go to a personal injury lawyer, you want somebody you can trust. You want somebody who is going to make sure that you are informed and feel good about every step of the process, which can take a long time. Kornblau and Kornblau is that. When you hear and see personal injury law firms advertised, most of the time, you're not even getting that law firm when you call. All that is a referral service. But when you call Kornblau and Kornblau, you get a Kornblau, especially if you are another Ricky sponsor. But many Ricky listeners we've heard from that have gone to Adam for not just personal injury law cases, but how do I get out of my lease, all that kind of shit. Adam is there for all of our listeners. He is truly the best. He has a passion for this, and he will answer your email, your call, whatever it is, your letter, personally. You will get him. If you think you might have a case, give him a call or shoot him an email. It doesn't cost you anything. 215-576-7200. Ask for Adam. Or email Kornblau, Kornblau, Kornblau at kornblauandkornblau.com. Kornblau and Kornblau, the official law firm of the process. Now, I don't know if it'll happen every episode, but I can tell you right now, it is time for relationship advice.
I keep my heart under my pillow with my teeth and other lies. I've been waiting on your halo just to shine the light.
That is Eliza Hardy Jones with the Rights to Ricky Sanchez relationship advice music. That's actually Eliza's song. Eliza, now of War on Drugs. Love Eliza. This comes from Anonymous. Hi, Spike, Mike, CJ, and Daryl. First time, long time. I've been listening to the pod since 2015 when I was a sophomore in high school, and I just graduated from college back in May. Was looking for guidance following a recent interaction with a girl I've had feelings for at school. First, I met this girl at a bar last fall and immediately hit it off. I invited her over daily, and we were really liking each other. I had recently gotten out of a 3-year relationship, so it was nice to start to have feelings for someone again. A couple weeks into hanging out, she kind of asked if I saw this as anything more. I hesitated at first, as I was unsure if I was already ready to get back into a relationship following a bad breakup 3 months ago. I said I wasn't ready, and she understood, but we still hung out weekly and enjoyed spending time with one another pretty much until the time I left from college in May. I told her last fall that I was probably looking to move back to PA following college, which was 1,000 miles from where we went to school. She was upset, but wanted the best for me. When I moved home earlier in the summer, I began having legitimate feelings toward her, probably because of not being with her. I told her how I felt, and she said, whatever happens, happens. And that she would always be there for me, which was appreciated. I decided I was going to look into moving back to the area where we went to college and where she got a full-time job. This was a move for myself, for my business, and my personal life, with maybe a 10% chance of potentially getting back with her. She seemed happy at first and said if I were to move back to the area that we could definitely revisit our relationship and see how it goes. Man, halfway through this, I don't like a lot of the language here. This past weekend, I was in town at a hotel touring apartments and getting a feel for being back. She agreed to dinner with me, and the next day we were going to do something as well. I was so excited to see her. When we were at dinner, I thought it went well. She told me how her job was going, and I told her about my potential work plans and plan to move back to the area. Nothing felt off at all. When we were driving back to her place to drop her off, the car ride home felt a little weird with her being quiet. I started to start a conversation by apologizing for my unwillingness to commit to a relationship early on. Here we go. She said it was okay. And again, we would see how it was if I moved back. Fast forward to the next morning, I get a text saying, hey, I don't really want to do anything tonight. I had then responded why she was feeling that way, and she stated that she felt the night toward the end was awkward and my constant apologizing for her was, quote, overwhelming. I let her be and spent the rest of the trip alone, touring apartments and staying in my own hotel room. It's been a few days since then, and she has ghosted me without much of anything else as to why. Was wondering how I should handle this. It's hard having feelings being so close to her again and not seeing her. This was an essay of a description of the issue, but I tried my best to paint the full timeline. Thanks so much for your help, and fuck the Sixers. It's kind of a bummer, man. I mean, you gotta just let it go, right? I mean,
yeah, I think sometimes it's just tough to when it gets muddied, and you can do this in the context of Daryl and James, two friends that just happen to be named the same as the Sixers GM and one of their players. It just starts to get muddy, and it's just like you kind of just gotta throw it out with the wash, and it's like hard to go back. There's a trust level broken when you ended it, and then you were like, well, it was good then, but she kind of didn't trust you still, and then you feel weird, and it still feels weird. And once it's not like good anymore, then it becomes like you're having to like work to feel like it's normal and stuff, and it shouldn't be that way. So I think it's a call it, and then if something happens like years down the line when there's been more time and development, then that's something. But I think it's probably, if it feels weird, it probably is weird, and probably time to let that one go.
And I'm going to be a little more pointed in this. And I'm doing this because I care about you. Not you, Mike. I mean, I do care about you, but I'm talking about anonymous here. Do not lie to yourself about the percentage of why you moved back to that area. That was an emotional decision, mostly not about your job, mostly about the fact that you regretted that she wasn't there anymore. And the truth is that breaking it off and leaving and then just like moving back is a lot for her. You know, like that is because it's a lot. It's like it's a huge commitment for her that you're almost like I know you don't mean to pressure her, but she has to feel pressure. Shit, now you move back. Like I had already closed the door on this, and now I have to sort of be involved in it again. So I would just ask that you be honest with yourself on it. And also, like that first separation is tough. It's just tough. Like even when people normally break up, you know, you're away from each other for 2 weeks and all of a sudden like, you're like, fuck, I made a mistake, even if you didn't make a mistake. So if you haven't already, like if you're not really going back there for work, then don't go back there. Just stay where you are, because I think somewhere in your head, if you go there, you're like, well, if I'm there long enough, Just sort of like let it be. And to Mike's point, if it happens, it happens.
The other thing, do I have to start individually fighting members of the Ricky to prove my dominance over them? Like, is that what needs to happen here?
I think
is that what I have to do?
Well, so
I just show up to AU's apartment
and just kick the shit out of him.
And I'm going to start stealing his votes limb from limb. Whatever it takes. I'm doing it. I'm living in an apartment. Living on a fucking deserted island for however many months. Make it 90 years. Me and Hubie Brown there, surviving, broadcasting. Ridiculous. Last place.
That is a tough one.
Absolutely ridiculous.
We got
unbelievable.
So
I play basketball 3 times a week. I do yoga. I lift. I run. I'm 33 years old. I'm not even showing up. After I'm through with all the Ricky staff, I'm showing up to the listeners' houses.
Just
I'm coming to you.
Jay and Silent Bob just
Absolutely.
going to ease.
That's exactly it. Adam, give me the list of everybody's IP addresses from where they voted. I'm coming.
This comes from,
and again, I wouldn't survive. That's what's important. I don't think that I would survive.
I just
think that on comparison to everybody else.
Who would you have voted for first?
CJ.
Okay. And what if CJ was not on? Like, what if he was erased? Are you
maybe
second?
MOC. Maybe MOC.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know enough to know what his relationship with nature is.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I don't think I would win, but last is ridiculous. Patently ridiculous.
It's a real insult. It's a real insult.
And I'm taking it as one.
So
I will never work at an organization where people vote for me last. Again, the listeners are liars, and I will never work for an organization where they think I would finish last in a 90 month fucking, God damn it, shut up.
Spike and Mike, this is Ben. Just kind of curious about what the hiring process is like at the Ricky, because I feel like you guys have made some questionable calls recently. I mean, fucking CJ, if that's even really his name, who knows? He won't tell us what it means, what it stands for. I don't know. Guy got kidnapped by Coven supposedly last year and then showed back up a week later without a scratch on him, and then wouldn't tell us any of the details of that supposed kidnapping. Sounds like a member of Coven himself who staged it all to get some leverage in you guys. I don't know. Don't trust the guy at all. And then Sixers Adam, I just found out via Twitter the other day, is a fucking Patriots fan. It's gross. The guy probably idolizes Tom Brady. That's like the worst character trait I could think of in a person, is idolizing Tom Brady. Don't trust him either. I don't know. The rest of the Ricky seems pretty cool, but those are relatively recent additions, and I just feel like you guys aren't vetting your candidates very well. It's really all I care about. Thanks, guys. See ya.
I agree. It's pretty ridiculous that Sixers Adam is a Pats fan.
It's disgusting.
He's the biggest Phillies fan that I know, so that makes up for it for the most part, but not all of it.
Yeah. Patriots fan is disgusting, and Patriots fans are by default actually bigger Tom Brady fans than they are Patriots fans, which is also disgusting.
CJ being kidnapped by Coven is interesting.
Count our votes even now.
Which is interesting, and now I'm realizing that did Coven have something to do with the voting in this situation?
Coven, you mean?
Did Tony T and the Coven mob fuck with the votes on Sixers Adam's computer? If they could kidnap CJ, they could kidnap Sixers Adam, and I wonder if something like that happened here. And if they kidnapped CJ and Sixers Adam, then maybe those two people wouldn't have survived on a deserted island for 90 months. If a puppet could kidnap them.
Last is really bad.
Yeah.
Okay. This came from Luke.
Last.
Rights to Ricky Sanchez at gmail.com. So I've been to 2 Amos Lee concerts in Philly since becoming a fan of his through the pod. First was at the Met, the other more recently at the Man with the Philly Orchestra, both great concerts. Not once has Amos said the name in Philly. He gives tons of shout outs to locals and Eagles who are in the crowd, but not once has he said the name on these 2 great stages. Just curious, since you were talking about Mount Joy and War on Drugs. Now, War on Drugs, we found out, by the way, from Greg that Adam from War on Drugs has been introducing Eliza and Dave as frequent guests on the Rights to Ricky Sanchez for months.
That's really funny.
Greg saw them at Summerfest in Milwaukee, and he did it there as well. I've seen Amos a number of times, and while I've heard him say my name, I have not heard him say Rights to Ricky Sanchez.
He said it in Los Angeles.
Okay,
in front of me.
So he gets credit. And then,
but he, I believe, is working with Tony T to not be counting our votes even now in this situation. So maybe there was a guise of something. A dupe situation happening. I'll say the name to Mike, and then I'll fucking a year later swap the votes around on him, so he is last.
Now, CJ, we did get a note saying that the 20-minute break in between Mountjoy's set and their encore was actually an intermission, and that there were 12 songs before the intermission and 12 songs after the intermission, and then a 4-song encore.
Wow,
so,
CJ.
CJ, a fake
guy doesn't know what an intermission
is.
is. You think he could survive on a desert island if he doesn't know what an intermission is?
It was a late intermission, and immediately after I said that, my girlfriend was like, "Why the fuck did you say that? Like that wasn't the case." And I was like, It was late. It was like a 10:30 intermission time, and in my head, it's still like 11 p.m. is when the show ends. I feel like that's a pretty golden rule all around, but not Red Rocks, baby. Rules are different.
Wow, CJ just get put on blast. Mountjoy bodying CJ on this podcast.
Now, Mike, you remember the email from Maddie from Utah, who was like, "Why can't you guys just be happy with a team?" And you were like, "Maddie, shut the fuck up."
Yeah.
We got a couple of voicemails about Maddie.
Hey, Coach Mike, CJ, multiple time, long time, whatever that means. Just want to say this is Mark from Philly area. I lived in Salt Lake City the last couple of years, so this is obviously in response to Maddie's email in the last episode. Although a beautiful area, very picturesque, the mountains, everyone there is happy and in blissful state and rock climbing and mountain biking and all that shit. I can assuredly say that nobody in that city not only does not know shit about basketball, they also don't care about basketball, aside from the cool Post Malone, John Stockton t-shirts that everyone wears and thinks that they're cool. So I'm just here to say that, Maddie, you're out of your fucking element.
And then we got a more angry
Mark
voicemail.
again. So I've been stewing on this for a little bit, and I came to the revelation that I want to nominate Salt Lake City as the fly of the process. Now, hear me out. Beautiful. February 1st. Tons of stuff to do if you want to go skiing, snowboarding. There's no better place in the country for it. And, you know, as a benefit that we can all meet Maddie in person and slap him in the face and, you know, kind of like whip him up, you know, like wrap one of those Post Malone, John Stockton t-shirts up like a wet towel and, you know, like kind of like smack him around like we are in like an old school locker room, you know, kind of like little boy play like that. Huh? Yeah, that sounds good. But yeah, anyway, Salt Lake City. Cool.
So poor Maddie, all he did was send us an email. Final.
That guy's pretty riled up, though. I kind of liked it.
Final email. This comes from Dylan, Rights to Ricky Sanchez at gmail.com. Hello, Spike, Mike, CJ, and Daryl. In light of the recent James Harden controversy, I feel like it's important to mention a story. Last week, I was walking in Center City with my girlfriend, and we overheard a conversation between two guys in front of us to the effect of, quote, "I don't even like the Sixers. I'm just a big Josh Harris guy. And I've never been rubbed more the wrong way in my life." There's not much else to the story. Just couldn't believe my ears.
Had to be glib.
Has to be.
No,
Nobody's a big
chance.
Josh Harris guy.
Although you are now.
Well,
handshake.
Yes, I guess I am. And then non-basketball question. If Spike claims to be so pro-hair, needs to use the right amount of shampoo only on certain days, et cetera, then why is he always wearing hats? These points seem contradictory and I need answers. I like hats, but I have like hair. Everybody thinks I'm bald. I'm not bald. I'm not balding. I have hair. I just like hats, especially on webcam. That's all I got.
We didn't talk about the Rico Hines runs, although we did talk about it in the past But because you robbed me from talking about actual basketball, I will be writing about it in the newsletter.
There you go.
Tomorrow morning.
Well, I was doing you a favor by giving you,
Rights to RickySanchez.com/newsletter.
RightsRickySanchez.com/newsletter. That comes out on Thursday. And by the way, somebody asked this. If you get the newsletter, there's a thing where you can view on webpage. Like if you tap that, you can go back to old newsletters and read the old ones. There's like an archive in the upper left-hand corner. So if you wanted an old one to read the old ones, you can do that. Somebody had asked. All right. Well, we're going to beat the shit out of Manny. I can tell you one person's not going to beat the shit out of Manny. It's the fucking loser who can't even survive on the island.
God damn it. This is ridiculous. I'm out of here. I'm leaving. I'm leaving early. I'm not even saying the line.
I'll talk to you next time. Are you down with TTP? Just got to let it go, I guess.